오박 중독자 집중하는 척이요? 그게 무슨 소리예요? 네. 일단 오늘은 블루 아이번을 한번 해보고 싶은데 어제 남둔 가서 쩔을 받았는데 쭈쭈바를 엄청 많이 쓰더라고요. 남둔 가니까 쭈쭈바가 너무 심하게 많이 쓰여서 다시 갈 수 있을지. 한 타임에 막 1200개씩 쓰는데 와, 사람 많다. 역시 메이플. 블루 와이번의 둥지 자리 시세 좀 봐야 되겠다. I heard that this is the place where talk about classic Maplestory takes place. That's true. Welcome back, Kita. 블루 와이번의 가격이 20만원 정도? 튕겼다. I disconnected. Sometimes this happens with Mapleland. I think it's the Maplestory World's client that's a little buggy. It'll just kick players out randomly. Like it'll kick me out sometimes randomly. It'll crash the game and I have to reboot it. So there are people that are trying to sell the channel for the blue wyverns, but they're not replying to me when I whisper them. 블루 아이번 채널이 지금 아직까지는 한 40만 정도 하는데 조금만 있으면 시세가 떨어질 것 같긴 하거든요. I think the price of the map for the blue wyverns will drop. I give it a few more hours, maybe an hour. If I go train at the sheep for an hour and look at the market for blue wyvern maps, I think the price will go down. It'll be easier for me to like find an open map or buy it for a lot cheaper than what it's going for right now. I was gonna be okay buying the channel for 300k, but they're not answering, so that's the issue right now. Let me see if my buddy's here. If he's here, then I can go kill the sheeps with him. But if he's not, then I might have to find a party myself. If there's any new people selling the channel. Hello, welcome Silver Gecko. Welcome to the stream. Is today just a farm day? Are we just gonna be farming today? That's what we might end up doing because nobody's oh wait. Let me try to look for a party that I can join. With the sheeps, there's a couple of people that are looking for Dragon Knights. So those parties I can join. But every time I submit, or oh, I got a reply back. 139. Okay, looks like I found the party. There's so many people online right now. I found you through one of your YouTube shorts. Oh, okay. Which YouTube shorts? Did you like them? I'm guessing you came to check me out because hopefully you liked it or There we go. It was the Fire Poison Mage one. I used to main Fire Poison Mage. Oh, is that so? Did you agree with my take or did you find it troubling? I have a special soft spot for Fire Poison Mages. I know my take was a bit controversial for the Fire Poison Mage, but you know, I'm what you call apparently a Maplestory purist. So I like Maplestory to kind of remain the way it is. But you know, I'm always open-minded and I'm willing to see how the oh jeez. Oh, right away. I've gotten so many of these here in my times of party train grinding here with the party. One second. Hello? I agreed to most of it, I think, but I never thought I could go and poison mist an entire map to KS them because I wouldn't be needed in party anyways. Oh yeah, so you know, there's that's kind of like the Korean culture. It's kind of uniquely to the KMS that the fire poison mages just tend to be PvP warriors essentially. They're kind of this weird socio class. They hold a weird place in society within the game that they're kind of an outcast, but they're also kind of like that, you know, they're kind of like that emo superhero. You know what I mean? Like they really don't care to get along with people and they can make your life miserable. But if you don't get on their bad side, and it really depends on each fire poison mage. A lot of them have this like vigilante mindset too, and they like to kind of be they kind of like to play Batman in Gotham City type of role. And if you have a good friend that's a fire poison mage, you know, you always have, that's such a huge ally to have when players get into disputes and stuff. And but yeah, it's pretty unique to KMS that, in a sense, that fire poison mages here, well, fire poison mages in general don't get accepted into party, and I think that's global. You know, that's GMS and KMS. But here in KMS, because the culture already at the base level is geared for party grinding, like nobody really solo grinds because they want to, unless they're farming for items that is, you know, that is dropped by monsters that are way below their level. For instance, if I wanted to farm, I could go to Golem Forest right now. They're gonna be very low in the level, right? Like I'm way over leveled for golems, but I can go there and solo grind. And Usually the only time I solo grind, or anyone solo grinds in KMS, would be for that reason, to farm items or to make money. Now with Fire Poison, because they don't get invited into parties, and towards the end of the game, when there are limited amount of maps that, you know, there's only like 1 or 2 maps that host the highest level monster, and within those 1 or 2 to 3 maps, there's usually one map that is the most efficient. You know, it's inevitable. That's just something that's inevitable. That's not developers' fault or nothing. It's just, as the community grows, as people's levels grow, people find out which maps are the most efficient, which map yields them the most EXP in an hour, etc. They start calculating all that stuff. And in those settings, you know, some classes are there's definitely classes that are always sought after, like bishops, who will have almost no problem finding a party. And then there's classes that are in the middle that kind of are not really sought after, but it's okay to have them in. And that would be like paladins or shadowers. There's still a way for them to join a party and party grind. Now, Fire Poison mages are the only exception to that. They can't get in a party to save their life. So what they do is they go to these end level content maps and they just spray poison mist if they feel like it, you know. They become a nuisance to society. But like I said, that's pretty a uniquely KMS thing. In GMS, a lot of GMS, it doesn't really apply because the foundation of how to enjoy Maplestory and how to play Maplestory is different. And here in the West, we don't prioritize party grinding. We kind of prioritize solo grinding for the most part. So it doesn't really matter. It's Fire Poison mages are actually just looked at one of the most efficient, one of the best characters to solo level. You know, it's actually looked at as a good thing. So it's kind of interesting. I think GMS culture was generally very solo grind oriented. I was just grinding at Squid Skellies by poison misting the whole map and then channel switching between 2 channels. Yeah, see? If you approach Fire Poison Mage through the lens of GMS and the culture of the Western audience, then it's one of the best classes to solo grind, and it's extremely easy to level compared to, like, let's say you're trying to solo grind as a warrior or solo grind as an archer or even as a thief. You're gonna have obviously it's gonna be one of the easier classes to level, and that's what they're designed for. It's because the culture, the Western GMS culture, fits exactly with the playstyle that Fire Poison mages want to be in. They want to solo grind. They want to basically, you know, poison mobs all throughout the map and make a full circle again to one tap them by killing them, and it's a lot of EXP. And like you said, you used to switch between 2 channels. Yep, I remember people doing that. Even in KMS, really back in the day, what they would do is they would go to the maps that aren't that don't get a lot of love, I guess, for the lack of better word. So there's maps that are highly sought after and people pay money to purchase, and then there's maps that due to their due to them not being as efficient, or their mob count being lower, or their platforms being wonky, whatever the reason is that people just don't party train or party grind at that map, fire poison mages can go to those maps and spray poison mist and switch between channels and efficiently grind too. Hi, what server is this? This is Mapleland in KMS. I've had this cough for so long. Everybody watch out for the flu this year. It's so bad. Apparently it's a new strand that came out, like flu subvariant K or something like that, and it's really bad. Oh man, I read a headline, I believe it was in Colorado, or maybe it was Ohio, I can't remember what state, but a father lost his 5-year-old son due to the flu this year, and it's so scary. Oh, took them. All right, two drops to this morning. That's awesome. I wonder if they'll change Poison Mist at all in Classic Maplestory. They kinda changed Poison Breath already, not to do percentage damage to mobs. I don't know if they'll change Poison Mist, you know. Yeah, I haven't heard about it, but I hope not. If they don't do percentage damage, I wonder how they're going to, like, it's a damage over time. It's a damage over time a skill. So how are you, I wonder how they're going to manage that if it's not percentage damage, you know what I mean? Poison kills now and doesn't leave him at 1 HP. I think that's a good change, right? That sounds like a good change to me. What do you think? You're the one that played Fire Poison Mage. I would assume that makes the playstyle a lot more simpler and easier. It kind of makes sense that poison kills them. If I was Fire Poison Mage, I would want the I would want Poison Mist to actually kill the enemy instead of leaving them at 1 HP. Maybe they don't want Fire Poison Mage to not train at mobs way higher level than them. I think I get what you're saying, but then I feel like if you don't make a damage over time a percentage damage based skill, because it's a damage over time, it's a dot skill, and if you don't make the damage multiplication or damage formula based around percentage, like percentage of max HP of enemies, then I feel like it's either one, going to be way too strong because they would have to just give raw damage so it's actually viable in late game, or they're going to make it super weak and make it almost irrelevant. And I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. We'll see. I hope they don't change it. It's nice that it actually kills them. I feel like I'm really speaking without knowing too much about Fire Poison Mage and their kit, because I never played Fire Poison Mage. I've been thinking about it though lately, but anyway, that's besides the point. I can't really speak on Fire Poison Mage and the changes of Fire Poison Mist killing enemies instead of leaving them at 1 HP. I don't know if that's a good change or not, so I guess we'll see. The version of Maplestory that I'm playing right now reminds you of the good days. This is one of the golden ages of Maplestory. This is like right before what is it? Pirates came out and Timeless Temple came out. So it's definitely in the golden era. I would say this version right now is like a year or two prior to the Big Bang update. This was when it was the most fun. I mean, arguably, I would say you could argue that like after the release of Pirate, it was still very much fun, and I'd agree with that because the hype of a new class was so real that so many people played. An introduction of pirates into the mix of the original 4 adventure classes was so refreshing and fun, and pirates really blended in well. It was a well-designed class that blended in well with the existing classes, which made the game, it didn't break the game. It wasn't like Dual Blade or Wild Hunter and stuff like that. It was just they fit in well, you know. This is before Pirate. We don't have pirates yet in Mapleland. It's announced and it's coming, but the rumor is that the developers for Mapleland are busy right now making its own client called Mapleland 2.0. So they're trying to abandon Maplestory Worlds and build its own client that emulates the old school Maplestory better than how it is now. Because right now, the client that we're running this on is on Maplestory Worlds, and although this is like 100 times better than Artale on the GMS side, it still has its flaws that the users were able to notice. on its differences and the minor bugs that it has that doesn't perfectly emulate the old school MapleStory. Such as like the swimming physics in Aquarium, and the rush skill that warriors use on an enemy, and where the enemies and your character get placed into a post using the skill. Like minor things like that people were able to notice and brought up to the attention of the developers, and they made a whole video showcasing what changes are coming, how it's gonna come, and how better it's going to be. I would prefer more classes like pirates instead of heroes, with new gear every level, more effort for creators, but better hype. Yeah, I don't like any hero classes, if that's what you're talking about, like Dual Blade, Angelic Buster, Neo, and all these fancy classes. I'm just not a fan of those. They can do everything all by themselves, so it kind of is ridiculous. 오늘은 다 외국인이네요. 그러게 오늘은 외국 분들이 많이 오셔서 소통하시네요. How's the channel capacity and stuff in Mapleland? Right now in Mapleland 1.0, in the client that I'm playing right now, it's 100 people per channel, but there's so many channel. Honestly, it's not the most optimal. Like each of these channels, when it's red, it means there's 100 people, and all of these channels can hold 100 people max, and they're basically all maxed out. They're essentially all maxed out. Gremlin, hey, what's up, Gremlin? Welcome back. You found my Twitch channel. That's what's up. But I know the game is very populated right now. A lot of people are playing this game. And this is that in Korea, it's almost midnight, you know, on I guess it's Friday? What's today? Oh yeah, it's Friday for them. Friday for them. It's about to be Saturday. So there's kind of that. I guess it is the weekend, so there's more people that are playing. But even on weekdays, when it comes to late at night, I can find parties. I can find a party to train here, especially because this is one of the most popular training grounds. But there's other places that I can go at my level, which is a lot more efficient than being here. But it does take some time to find those training grounds. Because I live in the US, the time difference between Korea and the US is like 12 hours, which is really unfortunate because when it's daytime here, it's nighttime over there. So I miss all the peak hours when people are actually super active and looking for parties and forming parties. It's kind of unfortunate for me in a sense because I am either sleeping or out doing stuff during peak hours in Korea. Peak hours in Korea would be like anywhere from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. when people are off work and they get home. Usually like 8 to 10 is probably the most peak hour. After they've had dinner, after they've come home and all that, you know, settle down for a bit. Do I plan on playing MapleStory Classic when it gets released? I do. So I have a lot of friends that have never played MapleStory in their lives. I've convinced them to give the game a try. You know, I told them, hey, a lot of those friends played WoW Classic, and some of them are like RuneScape nerds, so they're okay with the idea of grinding. They actually welcome it, that it's slow and steady, kind of like, you know, they have to grind and all that. So I think they're waiting for the game to release, and I have about 10 people or so that are willing to try the game, and I want to be there and experience that with my friends when the game comes out. So I will be playing Maple Land and Maplestory Classic. Did I also main Dragon Knight back in the day? I didn't main. I played Dragon Knight, but I wouldn't say it was my main. You know, I don't know about you guys, but when I was young, it was really hard for me to play one character on a consistent basis. So I would switch around a lot because I would get bored after I've leveled up my character to, like, let's say post 70. And you guys know that feeling, right? Like, even getting to level 70 was hard enough. It is hard enough right now, even in this game, because it's just like how it was back in the day. I have a bandit level 50, and it's such a drag to get that bandit to level 70. A lot of work. So once I hit 70, I did play a Dragon Knight, and I got up to like level 90 something before I transitioned and I played something else. I played like I've played a bandit, I've played an assassin, I've played basically all classes except for fire poison mage. But the ones that I got to 4th job advancements were shadowers, bowmasters, snipers, and I never got a Dragon Knight to a 4th job advancement. So I guess if I had to pick like what main did I have, my biggest memories that I have, like most vivid memory that I have, is ironically the Dragon Knight that I never got to 4th job advancement on. But I played Shadower up to like level 130 something, and then Sniper up to like 120 something. Bowmaster I didn't get too far. I got really bored after I hit 4th job advancement. So I kind of quit shortly after. So I would say Shadower was probably my main. I remember playing Shadower a lot too. And probably Shadower I would call my main, because that's the one where I went to Zakum with my guild, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I only reached about level 60 on a character back then. I remember doing Orbis Party Quest. Yeah. Orbis Party Quest is it's actually a great way to level from like 50 to 60. But starting 60, it does kind of slow down, and I personally would only do Orbis Party Quest if I got bored at that level. But yeah, I remember Orbis Party Quest too. Great party quest, great design and party quest. It was a lot of fun. It's unfortunate that people like kind of manipulated the party quest a little bit, only doing the first 2 stages. I don't know if that was a thing in GMS or not, but that's definitely a thing here in KMS, where people would only clear the first 2 stages and they would leave the party quest and run the party quest all over again. And you know, to be fair, I guess it's intuitive and creative, because it does yield you a lot more EXP than actually completing the party quest. But still, you're missing out on so much wonderful content that's there. And you're also missing out seeing the Papa Pixie. You know, he's the big old wizard cloud monster thing, the boss at the end. It's so cool to kill him together as a party. So when I start Maplestory Classic on the GMS server, I plan on not doing it that way. Because my friends probably won't know better, and I won't guide them or anything like that. If we make it to like 50, 52, 53, I'll take them on Orbis Party Quest with me, and we'll actually enjoy it as it's meant to be. I think that's the best way to have a good time with your friends, and not, you know, not just optimize leveling and doing something repetitive over and over again. It's actually nice to enjoy the party quest the way it's intended, at least for the first few times, so people can, you know, experience what the game has to offer. You could clear 6 times in a run by smuggling the pieces out. Oh yeah, I remember doing that too. There was a glitch back in the day for Looty Party Quest 2. You could man, I remember doing this as a kid. You could enter Looty Party Quest, and from stage 1 through 8, you know, if you guys remember, stage 8 is where they have the numbers, where you have to kind of figure out what sequence of numbers it is, and have the players stand on those platforms, and it clears you. But all the way up to that stage, you need a certain amount of tickets to get past to the next level. So there was this bug that I found out, and players found out, and I was able to do it. You could do it on a laptop, so you could repeat stage 1 multiple times, or you could repeat stage 1 and smuggle out the tickets from stage 1 and collect the tickets up to a certain point that'll just clear, like, speed you through the rest of the party quest until stage 8. And what you would do is you would go kill all the rats, collect the tickets, unplug your LAN cable from your laptop, spam loot, which is the key Z. There was some sequence. Click on the exit NPC, and then plug the LAN cable back in. And because the server just lost connection and then connected due to you unplugging the LAN, when it reconnects, there was like a bug where you can where you can keep the tickets that you've just gathered from killing the rats and exit the party quest at the same time. And you do that about 3 to 4 times, maybe like 3 times, and you can just speed through the first 7 stages. Honestly, did it save us much time? No, but, like, you know, I'm sure, like, it would have saved us 2-3 minutes, and to go through that trouble of, you know, doing that, and it's boring. You don't get to experience other stages in the game and the party quest. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. I was thinking of maining Shadower for Classic, but I saw vids back in the day of them training at Gobies by dropping sacks of mesos and bombing them. Did that turn you off? I mean, it is kind of like a boring way to train, honestly. You don't have to train that way if that's the reason why you're getting turned off from playing Shadower. You know, I'm sure there's going to be other ways. Like, if anything, if when Classic Maplestory comes out, if there isn't an established like party grind methods or people aren't willing to party train together, GMS community also loves to party quest. Hold on. GMS community also loves to party grind or party quest, and you know there's party quest all throughout the level, from Kerning party quest to Ludi to Monster Carnival to Orbis, and after Orbis you have Romeo and Juliet, and I'm assuming after Romeo and Juliet they might eventually they'll release Crimson Wood party quests as well. So those are all areas as a bandit who has like haste as a utility buff, which can help them, which can help them be useful in a party setting. But training with Meso Explosion, you don't have to train like that. I think people are just kind of like, if you saw it online, people are probably just showing off, not showing off, but wanting to show the people the unconventional methods of training as a bandit, you know, like, oh, I wouldn't worry, man. Shadower is a great class. It's fun. I had a lot of fun playing Shadower, and for a while I've been stuck on, do I want to play Shadower or Sniper in Maplestory Classic? And I'm still undecided. When the time comes, I'll probably make a decision depending on how I feel at that time. But yeah, right now I kind of am leaning towards Sniper, but we'll see. Yeah, usually they train with Band of Thieves. But, you know, that's usually like if you want to mob. If you want to like mob, you can. But let's say the implementation of party-centric culture, what the heck? The party-centric culture gets adopted and it gets brought over to the West into Classic Maplestory, then you don't really have to level up Band of Thieves. You can level Assaulter and still be okay. Yeah, I'm either thinking of Chief Bandit or Crusader for Classic. Oh man, Crusaders are extremely fun too. There's a lot of times when I sit here and I grind together as a party, and I look at the Crusader next to me, and I get these I get this like grass is greener on the other side type of feeling, and just look at Crusaders and how fun it looks. And you know, Crusaders are fun, but heroes are much more fun. So it's not that they're capped with their fun isn't capped at third job advancement. Their fun actually just increases as they level. So whereas like a Dragon Knight, I feel like your fun kind of gets capped at third job advancement. They're very simple characters. They're slow, heavy hitting characters. And when you first learn the Spear Buster, the skill that I'm using, the third advancement skill, it's extremely fun because it's a huge shift from using Power Strike and Power Blast all the way up to like level 80 almost, and you have a Dragon Roar, a huge AoE. So it's a lot of fun playing it, but your playstyle doesn't really change much once you hit fourth job advancement. It's relatively the same. Whereas Crusaders, yes, you're using Power Strike, but you have a combo system going on that requires you to somewhat be active and honestly be more. You have to manage your resources, right? There's like a resource that you have to manage, and that makes the Crusader, I believe, in my opinion, a little bit more fun. And as they level into higher levels and become eventually a hero, Brandish is probably one of the coolest skills in the game, right? So you use Rush, Brandish, and they're just a lot faster. They hit just as heavy as the Dark Knight, and you know, they're more fancy. I think swords look a lot cooler than spears, so that's another thing too. I think swords have a beautiful art design. What is your name on Twitch? I'll give it to you, 1 second. That's my Twitch. Yeah, I think the warriors have the coolest weapon design, armor design. Maybe not armor. Warriors definitely have the coolest weapon design, and it's one of those cliche moments where bigger the better, especially in a pixelated game like this. The more real estate you take up on the screen, the more ability, or the more capability you have of making a beautiful design. Like if you look at Claw for assassins, all of them look pretty crappy. Like even if they try to make a Claw look cool, it still ends up being pretty underwhelming because it's so tiny and they have a limited amount of pixels that they can use to make a Claw look good. Whereas a dagger looks pretty badass because they can get creative with the dagger. Dagger doesn't have to look like a claw that's throwing out a star. You could get pretty creative. So if you look at a level 80 dagger or a bandit, I forgot what they're called. It's like this white snake thing that wraps around the bandit's arm, and it's one of the coolest weapons in the game, in my opinion. They're just not limited like the assassin is.
「 Relajese, それから Jonnyfather の Relajese 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 の Relajese
I wonder how Korean people felt when they announced Classic Maplestory for GMS. Do they dislike Nexon for that, or do they not care because of Mapleland? My experience with that has been that Korean people are interested and they're intrigued, but they're not, I think some of them might try the game to kind of see what it is. But generally, I think they're just nonchalant. They're like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're just like interested, but they don't really, it doesn't really bother them because they have Mapleland here. Is the site Inven also a place where they talk about MapleStory? I'm not too sure. I think Inven has turned more into, like, it turned not really being developed by community, but it's been swallowed up by corporate. So it's not as lively as it used to be. It's been heavily like funded with corporate interests and stuff. So it's not like the main community website where people share their thoughts and posts like Reddit. I would say there's like a different website that I'm not familiar with. I don't check those community forums. I usually stick to YouTube for any type of news and updates about Mapleland or MapleStory Classic or anything that's happening in Korea. Actually, I just stick to YouTube because the issue with like community forums in Korea is that a lot of times people can be very toxic in there because it's not as regulated, and it's just best to stay away and not look at it's going to give you the most insight in what people are talking about. But the thing is, people that post on those community forums and post are the like really the loud minority. So, you know, it's not a good reading into how the general population and the player base of Mapleland is feeling at that exact moment. it can kind of get you pessimistic and negative and nasty if you stay on Korean community forums for too long. Like, there's just like this lack of respect in the forum. Like, there's a lot of like cursing at one another going on. There's a lot of blackmailing. There's people just posting one another to trying to defame them. So I stay away from those type of forums, and that's the only one I know. If there's any other forums that exist where it's more accurate and people are talking about like actual issues and not trying to be trolls, then I don't know if it exists. Yeah, there used to be some crazy unhinged posts back in Lost Ark days. Yeah, exactly. It's usually the loud minority that are unhappy with how the game is going and it doesn't fit their standards. And it's really the minority of the people, because people that enjoy the game, that like the game, they're just gonna log in and play the game they enjoy. And I learned this in business, is that I would start looking for advice online when my business wasn't performing, and I would go on Reddit and I would look at people who are having the same issue as me, and it's just an echo chamber of people having issues giving wrong advice, and it's honestly just best to stay away. And I believe the modern Maplestory, the reason why it got this bad the way it has, is because the loud minority did what it did, which was complain and ask for balancing, asking for more updates, more frequent updates, when like normal everyday players and users that play Maplestory back in early 2000, mid 2000, they were just fine with how the game was, up to Pink Bean and Timeless Temple and Pirates. But people were like, oh, this is just so boring. You know, the loud minority started saying this, there's no updates, it's so boring, it's so hard to level. Why is it that assassins have flash jump and no other classes do? It's so unfair. You know, and then the game just completely turned into something else. So it's kind of like how WoW is too. WoW has this crowd of people that are trying to change the game. Well, it's already too late for WoW. WoW has gone way far off into the deep end, and it's, I don't even know if it's salvageable, even with like release of Classic WoW and all the efforts they're trying to make. They might as well just make a World of Warcraft 2.0 and, you know, really just shut off the loud minorities' criticism. And but you know, when I try to put myself in the developer's point of view and in their shoes, how do you manage a game without getting feedback from people? So I understand that it's a difficult problem, and it's a lot more nuanced and complex than I make it seem to be. But the answer definitely is not listening to people complaining all the time. And that's not the answer, clearly. Oh man, this flu was so bad this year. My family's just now getting over it. Will you be attending the in-person beta test for Classic Maplestory that happens in NA? No, I won't be. I have a newborn baby, and I have to be here for my family, and I'm all the way on the other side. You know, that's happening in California. I'm in Virginia, so you know, unfortunately, it's too far. That's one. Two, right now where I am in life, I don't have the I guess the leisure time, because I'm pretty busy just being a father, and also, you know, I'm streaming for fun, and hopefully one day I can make some money out of streaming. But right now I do it because I really just I want to have fun and talk to people, and I love playing MapleStory, so this is like an investment to me. So outside of being a father, I have to worry about my other businesses that I'm running, and you know, I just don't have the time to attend for a lengthy amount of time in January to February. I wish I could. I'm excited though. Like, even if it's not me personally testing it, other people are going to test it, and they're going to make YouTube videos, bring more attention and bring more hype to Classic MapleStory. And you know, there's going to be hype around it, and people are there's going to be more clips that gets released, more information, which is going to be awesome. So I'm excited. I wonder, like, the new continent that they're releasing, which you know, like, what was it? I can't remember what it's like a secret hidden tree thing area. If you've seen the trailer, or like if you've seen the teaser, they kind of teased it. It's like a new area that they're going to release with the game. I wonder if there's going to be a party quest in there too. 하오님 안녕하세요. 어서 오세요. Yeah, that new map with like corrupted mushrooms. Yeah, that one. It's like a darkish green, and the mushrooms had like moss on their head, and it looks really pretty and like interesting. I've made some comments about that continent, like if I had to, you know, but at a surface level, I think it's really cool. I think it's really pretty and awesome that they've put that much work into it for us to like be excited about and experience and play through and all that. 이거 이제 곧 끝나요, 샤오님. 여기 파티가 이제 막심이라고 한 것 같은데 거의 다 끝났습니다. 이분은 그냥 바로 블랙리스트 걸을게요. 일단 인종차별과 괜히 시비 걸고 일단 인성이 안 좋으신 분 같으니까 바로 그냥 블랙리스트 거는 게 맞는 것 같아요. 오, 저 좋죠, 샤오님. 전 너무 좋아요. 불러주시면 바로 가겠습니다. 어제 너무 랩업을 시원시원하게 해서 나 샤오님 때문에 이거 4차 할 것 같은데 조만간. 너무 고맙네, 샤오님. 몇 채로 가면 되나요, 샤오님? Dino Fry said that soundtrack for the new area was good too. Oh yeah. You know, one of the reasons why Maplestory is so good is because of its soundtrack, you know. Their soundtrack is legendary. S15요. 네, 바로 가겠습니다. So one of my viewers who has been my viewer for a bit, he's a really high level bishop, and he runs multi accounts that can buff his bishop. And he invited me yesterday to one of the highest. So remember those maps that I were talking about towards the end of the game? There's only like a select few maps where people would go to grind like high levels. Well, he's about to invite me to that map and essentially leech me for free. So you guys, if you guys are watching, you'll see how the drastic difference between killing sheeps with the party and getting actually leeched at Skelegos and Skelegons. I'm gonna turn my VPN on. It's gonna get choppy for a second, but it'll reconnect. 왔습니다, 샤오님. 포션 준비해야죠. 포션. 쭈쭈바를 1200개를 사가야겠죠? 돈 거덜난다. 오늘 여기서 쩔 받고 주문서 부캐에 있는 주문서 좀 팔아야 될 것 같아요. 돈이 많이 앞으로 쭉 쩔을 받을 거면 일단 돈을 어떻게 구해놔야 하니까 1269개 사놨습니다. 슬퍼용님이네 오늘은. 다크나이트 분이시다. 몇 시간에 1200개 써요? 1시간에 1200개 정도 쓰는 것 같아요, 여기서. 경험치 쿠폰 받았나? 경험치 쿠폰 안 받... 이걸 모아야 하는 건가? 모아야 되네 아직. 숟갈에서 모아놨어야 되는 건데 까비. 자, 먹어 멍멍이. Wow. 177 Dark Knight at the bottom. And a bishop up at top spamming Genesis. Crazy. Level 180 bishop. 187 bishop up at the top. I'm sandwiched by two high level players that are just leeching me. This is It's the same thing as yesterday, Gremlin. So yeah, Pog for sure. And once I get my experience coupons for the New Year event that they're doing, which hopefully it's here shortly because I have to collect some items. But once I get my 2x coupons, I can use it and it'll help me a lot too. What is that emote? Ah. People often despise the leeching mentality over here, I think, but I kind of embraced it. Anything that gets a party or people together is a W in my book. I love the Lionheart castle grinding leeching days. Yeah, I mean, I think leeching and KMS, I'm trying to think, like it's pretty prevalent here too. Me personally, I think I'm okay with it. It gets people a reason to play bishops. If I'm being very honest, if fire poison mages have this, if they're infamous for being just jerks, and like they just like to stand out and be extremely edgy, and they could be jerks or friendly. Usually they're so brave, they have this personality like, I don't care what you say, like what is respect, like very edgy type of personality with fire poison mages. And it's crazy how true that is. I see a lot of fire poison mages in KMS and they're very much like that. They're just edgelords. But bishops here also have like a pretty strong personality type with people that play bishops, and usually it's people that are trying to make money from playing the game. Like they're not playing the game to enjoy the game for what it is. They're beyond that. They want to play bishops to make money and fund their next character, which is usually a Night Lord. If they, you know, most of the time people that look at bishops as a money-making machines, also because they already don't enjoy the game for a game, they look at it as something like they have to optimize, obviously, or else why would they be playing bishops to make money, right? Like it's so important to them that they have enough money to play Night Lords or Bowmaster, that these people go on and play Night Lords, and those people go on and play Bowmasters. They're very like, they revolve around, they don't look at the game to enjoy the game. They look at the game to make, they try to they hyper focus on efficiency, and they hyper focus on like what is the most optimal. So, and a lot of bishops are like that here in KMS. People play bishops and priests because they know it makes money towards the end, and they don't really play with the identity of I want to play support. There's a select few, and I see those people that are actually playing bishops to go to raids and such, and actually be a resurrection bishop or heal bishop or whatever. But it's the minority within the bishop community. Alright, we got our experience coupon. Let's go. Will I be able to hit 110 today? I think so. 잠시 VPN 좀 끌게요. I hope they have some good anti-botting hacking measures for Classic Maplestory. Honestly, there will be so many botters and hackers. I hope they can make sure that doesn't happen. That's gonna ruin a lot of things. I mean, forget about just the overall experience having to play games with hackers and botters. It's gonna, like, let's say they can't contain that or manage that. It's gonna mess up the in-game economy. It's gonna mess up a whole lot of other things. So hopefully they can. I disagree. Really think this leeching was the beginning of the end of what felt like a fun experience in parties. People expect it almost at the start of their character's lifetime. I wish it never happened. I agree. You know, to a certain degree, I agree. But I will say there's a lot in the midst of people looking for leeching and wanting to get through the levels just by getting leeched. There's people that are also that can't afford it, including myself. I would not be able to afford this if it wasn't for one of my viewers telling me to come and, you know, like he wants to just take care of me and give me 1 hour of free leeching with the experience with the 2x experience coupons we got for New Year's from the developers. I personally can't afford this. And there's in KMS, outside of this, there's another, like the Gobi leeching is super prevalent here in KMS to the point where it is kind of like carnivalizing other party areas where people used to train. But you can still find parties. You can still find parties, and people are still looking for parties. I had no issue finding a party. I mean, yes, there's people. It's a lot harder than before, but there's still people out there that are looking for parties. And the thing about Gobi leeching is that it's so prevalent that the developers actually took a lot of measures to kind of nerf the Gobis, but people are still doing it because it's so good EXP, especially for lower levels. Leeching, the leeching concept and the leeching culture, you know, if I had to analyze, it would take me some time to really spend some, you know, I would have to sit down and really think about the result that came from leeching and what leeching did to MapleStory in general. You know, I can't, it's hard for me to sit here and just kind of mindlessly talk about it, because I know it won't be a quality analysis. It'll just be like off the top of the head, and I might end up contradicting myself in the future. As long as the parties are there, I'm fine with it, but it breaks my little maple heart to walk through the areas where we would see 40 people waiting to play together. Oh, trust me, me too. You know, I wish it didn't. I wish there was another way. But what happens is, and I'll explain why it happens instead of talking about if it's good or bad. The reason why it happens, right, is because and it happens to all MMOs, all video games that are online. Once the game has been released for a while, people start to catch up and get into higher levels. And people reach endgame content. At first, it might be 5% of the population. And slowly it becomes 10%, 15, 20, 25%. And soon enough, almost half the community is at endgame content without areas to spend. They don't have an output where they can dump the mesos that they're earning, because they've already got, you know, I guess they could try to go for another endgame weapon or whatever, but eventually people get to a point where they're like settled with their equipment. They have enough meso, they don't know what to do, so they start. A lot of the times in Maple Land, the new characters that are running around aren't newbies that are new to the game. It's actually people that have 2-3 accounts that have leveled their character up to 170, 180, and they're just looking for something else to do. And with those accounts, because they have so much money, they start looking for the fastest way to level and kind of like skip the levels that they don't want to play. And they look for areas where they can just get leeched their way all the way to 4th job advancement. Now, in order to combat that, back in the day, MapleStory had to like release gachapon, cubing, right? Cubing because it takes up money. You have to actually spend money to upgrade your, not money. You had to spend meso. It was a source where you could dump the meso to enhance your ability, enhance your character's ability. But it all went wrong because then they made it into a cash item where if you want to like preserve certain lines and re-roll certain lines, you have to spend actual money, and it just terrible idea. And then another way to combat that, another way to combat the content being like too slow and people have so much money, and you know, the game basically turning into a game for higher end users, and it wasn't attracting new players. It wasn't healthy, right? Because the game needs to have a certain amount of new and lower level players that sustain the higher level players. And right now what's happening is higher level players are creating lower level characters and second and tertiary accounts and playing together that way. And some of these people are actually new. Yeah, they're new to the game and they don't have the money. Some of these people only got to like level 109, 110 and decided, hey, I want to try something new, and they don't have the money. Some people actually start a character and they have a lot of money, but because they want to feel the fun and nostalgia, they just they play the character with no money being inherited from their main account. You're not an anomaly, I would say. I think a lot of people that are going to be coming to Classic Maplestory wants to enjoy the game the way you imagine. You know, no leeching, like be pure and innocent and pure, like no leeching and no manipulation, just kind of enjoying the content together with friends and stuff. I should have clarified that I mainly meant the LHC grinding leeching days. The true experience of old school Maplestory feels good. Yes, you explain things so well, Johnny. Holy cow, are you a teacher? No, I'm not a teacher. I do try to be like mindful and explain and elaborate and paint a bigger picture so people can understand, instead of just giving one worded response and like leaving it up to the people to interpret the way they heard me. It's almost like a consideration thing. Like I'm trying to be considerate by giving you the full picture and telling a story. That's what I do most of the time, is I tell a story, and it helps paint a clearer picture for people. I'm sorry, I'm sniffling. I'm still pretty sick. And anyways, what happened with modern Maplestory is that the developers knew that it was an issue, that they weren't getting like new players into the game. It was turning into a game that was meant for that only old veterans were playing, and they were supporting the game by creating tertiary, secondary, tertiary classes, accounts, and leveling up different ways. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but in the developer's eyes, if you have to pay for the server to continue to be like, if you're keeping a server open and you're servicing a game, you have to pay money to keep that game open and running. So they, a lot of elements kind of combine, such as money issue, new player issue, and developers also hearing from the loud minority telling them to balance the game, release more updates, release more classes. Oh, this isn't fair, balance every class so they're all the same. All these different ingredients and elements came together and created the monster that is modern Maplestory that is today, where you see billions of damage. And soon it'll be trillions. Soon, I don't even know if they need to put damage on there anymore. You might as well just get rid of it, because it's already covering the entire screen anyway. Am I going to Cali for the playtest? No, brother, I can't, because I'm actually in Virginia, and I have a family here. I have a family that I have to take care of. And unfortunately, I can't go. It's too far. But I'm excited for other people to try it out and see the contents that's going to be released on YouTube. Let me use my one more experience coupon. Well, you definitely made me think a bit which is unusual for me. Oh, really? Why? I appreciate that. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. You should come hang out often. I like intriguing conversations, and I like conversations that make me think as well. And most of the time I just kind of think to myself, and I think a lot. Prior to going live and doing YouTube and Twitch, I would just play the game and think to myself all these thoughts. I talk to myself a lot in the head. I know that sounds crazy, and you know, it's probably not normal, but it's because I'm also pretty much an introvert, and I don't like to socialize too much unless I have to. I don't think it's necessarily a bad trait, but I think it does something to your psyche when you kind of seclude yourself and you like to be alone, and you know, you kind of just, I have my wife and I have few people that I talk to, but a lot of times I like to be alone, and that's kind of like peaceful for me. But I've noticed as I'm getting older that it's not necessarily the healthiest thing for me. Maybe someone will stream live since it's at a local PC cafe. Yeah. I'm just excited to see it come out, and new stuff to resurface on YouTube so I can check it out. Give me 1 second. Oh man. 주문서 떴다. 망토임인데요? 아, 이거 드릴게요. 망토임 굉장히 비싸거든요. 한 400인가 500 정도 할 텐데. Sorry for the late response. Baby needed attention. Oh yeah, no, you're fine. I can relate. I see everyone says they want Maple Classic to be the next OSRS, but they're against paying a subscription like OSRS has. I don't get that. I mean, I'm okay paying $5 of subscription if that means we don't get gacha, if that means we don't get cubing, you know, crazy stuff like that. And like, if we can keep pay to win element out, and this is gonna open the gates of, well, let's describe what pay to win is, and we can have that convo. But I'm okay with a subscription model if I can get steady content that doesn't require me to spend money, like steady release and updates with content that are pretty true to the original old school Maplestory experience. I'm okay spending $5 a month without, like, what happens is a lot of times with these mobile games and games that are called free, quote unquote free, is that they release content or they release an update that is essentially a soft threshold, right? And if you don't fund your character by spending real life dollars into it, or like an unimaginable amount of hours into the game, you can't enjoy the newest content. That happens a lot with like quote unquote free video games, and I hope they don't do that. I would rather pay $5 a month, right? There's a lot of games that are doing that nowadays anyway, like OSRS, Classic WoW, a lot of MMOs are doing that. And when they don't do that, a lot of times, 80% of the times, they have a money grab scheme within the game where it's just, what is it, like battle passes, battle royal passes. It just becomes too, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it just becomes very messy UI wise. Like, I log into a game and it's telling me to do my daily and weekly and enjoy the free battle pass, and there's like locked content within the battle pass that can only be unlocked if I pay $20, and everything else in the battle pass is essentially garbage other than the locked stuff. It happens in League of Legends, it happens in all the free video games that you guys probably have played, and I just don't want that to happen. Instead of having that happen, you see how clean this UI is on Mapleland? There's nothing in here that's telling me to look here, look here, look here. The game is essentially just a canvas, and it's running in the background without like trying to guide me anywhere or trying to tell me to do anything. These subtle events that the game releases are amplifiers of the existing fun, right? The fun already exists because I come in here and I, you know, get to relax and party grind and level up and like train on my character. But these events just amplify that fun and relaxing moment by allowing me to, I don't have to click anything. I don't have to read anything. It's like just I click a button, and sometimes developers will dress the monsters in a Christmas outfit or a Christmas costume, and it's a nice change of aesthetics and visuals that makes the game feel lively, that makes the game feel different here and there. And it's a switch. It's a welcome switch. It's a subtle switch. And these small events that the KMS developers are doing, such as Rudolph nose that I have on my nose and the hairpin that was given out during Christmas, these have no additional benefit. Like, these don't make or break the game. You know, it actually, a lot of it is cosmetics, and even if they do give buffs like this Rudolph nose, you can make a really OP Rudolph nose by participating in the event and doing the whole scrolling thing. And let's say you get a 8 attack Rudolph nose. It doesn't really matter because all these items that are event items are gonna go away. They're all limited time. So around February, they're all gonna disappear. Now, the things that actually do stay are things that don't enhance your character at all. So for example, I received a lot of these Maplestory or Maple weapon cash, like aesthetic Maple weapons from the 2nd year anniversary back in like November. These don't have any intrinsic stats that are attached to them. They're just for purely aesthetics. They're just like a collectibles item that I collect, and you know, that way you can the events and the game can be, the game doesn't have to be mundane and boring just because it's not updating all the time or releasing patches all the time. These intermittent updates that are refreshing and new give players something to do in between big patches, and they're doing it really well. You know, Maple Land is doing it really well. I think Classic will fail if they monetize outside of subscriptions and cosmetics. I think so too. So I'm okay with like subscription. I'm okay with a, you know, like if they're trying to charge me an unreasonable price, like I don't know, $50 a month, and obviously I'm not gonna do it. That's crazy. Like I think 20 is too high. I'd be okay all the way up to 15. That's because WoW is 15. Because there's already other games out there that are charging 15. Now, if they try to do, you know, more than that, then I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna have high expectations, and maybe initially I won't be the member. I won't be a member. I won't be a subscriber initially. I'll kind of watch the game. Maybe I'll subscribe for 1 month and try. But I'll kind of watch. I'll definitely be like, you know, paying attention to how they're managing the game. If you're charging me $15 to $20 a month of subscription, and on top of that, now you're releasing gachas and cubing, and your general sense of direction and how you're developing the game isn't like, it makes no sense, then I would quit the game at that point. You know what I mean? I wouldn't play Maplestory Classic because it doesn't take long for me to kind of figure out that the developers, you know, we already know Nexon can be very money hungry, and they have treated players with a sense of disrespect, in a sense that like they just look at us as cash cows, right? It's very blatant. At first it was subtle, but you know, we're in an era now, like video games don't care anymore. They'll just blatantly develop and make a game that is aimed for you to spend money in the game. It's not even about the gameplay. It's not even about none of that. They're just, you know, it's very blatant. Like, it's not like spend money for quality of life, spend money to have a slight boost. A lot of times video games now are spend money to play the video game. We've gotten that far. So will Nexon neutralize that and bring back the culture of, you know, players first and gameplay, enjoyability, the gameplay experience, all that first before prioritizing profit? Because profit follows when the game is fun. How is it that Maplestory, a 25-year-old game with pixelated graphic 2D side scroller, has managed to survive this long? Well, because it was fun. Nobody, if this game was not fun and it was a cash cow and just blatantly going after people's wallets, would it have survived this far? Would people be still playing this game? I don't think so. I don't think so. So we'll see when MapleStory Classic comes out. We'll see how it all goes. I you know, as much as I sound pessimistic and negative, I know I can sound that way. I'm very excited for it to release because, you know, a part of me is very optimistic and intrigued on this new approach that they're talking about, where they say this won't be a remake, or this won't be an emulation one-to-one to old school MapleStory, but it's going to be a remake and reinvention of old school MapleStory. And that has that leaves a lot of doors open. You know, there's so many questions you can ask because it's so nuanced and it's not clear what that exactly means, but it does get me excited. Hopefully, right? Hopefully they're in the same wavelength and frequency as the players, and they make MapleStory Classic a lot like old school MapleStory and expand on what made old school MapleStory so great, instead of going the direction of Big Bang or cubing and gacha and, you know, with all these fancy classes. Hopefully they keep true to what the players want. Did they allow people to record and take pictures during the last playtest? I think they did. I mean, if you look at some videos on YouTube, you see people that are standing behind on their phone recording and stuff. So I don't know. Caring people can seem pessimistic. That's what my mom always said. And mom is always right. Your mom is smart. She's a wise woman. I think it's because I do care about MapleStory. I'm sure a lot of people do, but I care about MapleStory a lot. You know, I want this game to be the forefront of an MMO in a dying MMO industry. I want this to save it, because Mapleland right now, I think, is a great MMO. Despite its flaws, despite its rough edges, it's an MMO that I would play over any other MMO that's in the market right now. And that's not because I'm just familiar with this game. It's not that at all. It's that this game actually encourages party play, and it opens doors for you to meet people. It makes it easy for you to socialize with people in a world and even in the digital world where being isolated and alone seems to be on the rise. You look at current MMOs today, there's so many good games with beautiful graphics, beautiful gameplay, very engaging storytelling, whatever it may be, but it falls flat compared to MapleStory because, yeah, it's an MMO, but you just see them running around and there's no opportunity for you to engage with one another. There's none of that. There's no like taking a moment to talk about how your day is, or just joking about the current state of whatever, or talking about, hey, please everybody have a happy new year. You know, those little things happen in this game. Maybe not all the time, because a lot of players in this game are above age 30, like 25, 30, and you know, they're a lot more reserved and they're a lot more quiet. But then you get in a party where some people are willing to chat with you, and you just say Happy New Year's to one another. It's those light conversations that happen that has no real, like, you don't have to talk about politics, religion, or whatever, anything crazy, but just a simple, hey, Happy New Year, and I hope a lot of blessings come your way. How many people in your everyday life say that to you over text during the new year? Maybe you have a few, maybe you have here and there, and maybe you do it too. Some people have none. And I know that to be true because that used to be me back like 5-6 years ago when I was alone for a bit. I remember that feeling, and I just wanted to be in a part of a community. And if I had Maple Land back then, it would have felt a little less lonely, knowing that other people are playing the game on New Year's just like me, and that we can chat about New Year's and the ball dropping and the whatever it is. You know, I've been playing this game for 4 months now, and there's so many times prior to even me starting Twitch and YouTube where I would get in a party and we would talk about just random things. Hey, do you like chicken? Oh yeah, I like chicken. Oh, why did you play Bandit? Oh, how come you? Oh, okay, maybe we should friend one another, because, you know, I'm talking about like when I was level 40, 50, a huge, like the main area where people chat a lot. When you get into higher levels like this, most people are they're kind of checked out and they're doing this grind just passively, either watching YouTube or whatever. I mean, some people will still chat. Like the gentleman above me playing the bishop, he's a viewer, and he's been watching me play for a little bit, and he actually brought me over here to leech me for free. But when he was a viewer, and even right now, if I wasn't doing the broadcasting, I would be talking to him, asking him, hey, did you get any loot this turn? Did you get any like cool, you know, did you get any scrolls? Did you get any cool loot? What about like the previous times? What are you looking for? Any type of combo between a human is, you know, the potential of any conversation to happen is just limitless. You can talk about anything. And that's the beauty of Maplestory, is that this is a game where you can come in and you can really go through this grinding process together with other people with relatively the same goal of reaching endgame and getting higher level, and you know, everybody has that goal in mind, and you're doing it together. It's a grind, but you're doing it together with other people, and it feels less lonely than the real world sometimes for some people. And I think that's what MMOs miss nowadays. The current MMOs, you can make a beautiful game. You can make a game with best water graphics, the best water physics, you can make a game with ever-changing weather. If you're running around killing monsters by yourself and NPCs, you're gonna feel more lonely than ever. Tell me how I feel like I'm in a live game, in a live world, in a 2D pixelated game. I can tell you why. It's because there's other people that are playing the game with me, and the element of human makes all that difference. The element of some other human in the game, in the same map that I can see on my screen, doing the grind that I'm going through, and we get to talk about, I don't know, what's our best food, what's that, what's this, asking questions, you know. That's what makes Maplestory a great game. I really hope Classic pushes party play. I like extra or double XP. Party quest and group grind is going to be key for me. Turning 30 this year, 33. I turned 33 this year. The best compliment I ever got playing Maplestory is that a buddy said we met each other. We went to play Trickster and some other games and meeting new people. Yeah, you know, that's the early 2000 like vibe right there. You jump on one game, you make friends in that game, and you guys go play a different game, right? Like once you get bored of that game. For me, it was I played Maplestory back in the day, and then I would play a lot of Sudden Attack. I know what Trickster is though. I've played Tricksters too. I didn't really like do a deep dive and deep play into Trickster, but I know what that game is. You sound like you're a Korean American. I remember what game was it that I played that I was like, man, this is a beautiful game, and it was an online game. Maybe it was New World. You know, in the 2000s, like after 2015 all the way up to like recently, and lately, like there haven't been much MMOs coming out, but there was a span of time in history where MMOs were just dropping from big corporate companies. Like Amazon was releasing New World, Nexon was releasing their next like big MMO. Who else was making MMOs? Ashes. I'm still waiting on Ashes of Creation. I don't know if that game ever made it out or not. But anyways, there was like a lot of MMOs coming out, and you know what? They completely missed. You know why they missed? Is because they focused on the game. They called it an MMO, but it wasn't an MMO, and it wasn't good enough to be a single player RPG. So it was like this weird blob of a game that had no social aspect to call it an MMO, and it wasn't a AAA, like, you know, I'm thinking of a Shakiro, I'm thinking of Elden Ring, I'm thinking of Baldur's Gate. These games are single player games that you can, that is, you know, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that those games are well worth your money because the experience playing by yourself is so great. But games like New World and all these other games, there was no reason for you to party with anyone. You just ran around in an empty world. Yeah, it looks beautiful, it looks great, but you're just running around by yourself, collecting herbs and cutting trees. Some people had fun, and I'm sure they enjoyed it for the few. Like for me, I think I played it for a few hours, and then I was like, why am I playing this game? Why am I sitting here doing a daily quest right now? I'm not even like talking with anyone. Nobody's talking. This is an MMO, but I'm doing like a daily quest of collecting herbs. That's how I felt, and I quit. And most people, you know, there's a reason why they stopped servicing that game, because most people quit. They tried it, the game was beautiful, they dumped a lot of money into it, making the game super beautiful, and like water physics were crazy, all this nice stuff. The combat was whatever, or the combat was, I guess, good for its time, but people stopped playing. But people continue to play MapleStory. People still go on MapleStory private servers looking for that old, that hit of nostalgia, that hit of the sense of community, and to see people grind together and you know, to relive the old memories they had of doing looty party quests. Like for the Western audience, it's a lot of times free market and being trolls together and chatting it up with people, or doing party quests. That seems to be the main core nostalgic memory that people hold when it comes to MapleStory in the West. When it comes to the East, people love MapleStory because of all those issues, or sorry, not issues, because of all those points that I've mentioned for the West. Plus, people miss playing an MMO where it truly felt like an MMO, where you get in a party and you're just mindlessly grinding together and you talk about life together, you know? Like not everybody is going to welcome that type of sentiment, obviously. Like I say in a group of apples, you're gonna have bad apples. Like before I came here, I was in a party group, and most of you English speaking people probably could not read what was going on in the party at that moment, but there was a guy that was being racist to me. There was a guy that was basically like just trying to get on my nerve, telling me like I look ridiculous, trying to be racist towards me, and I just ignored him. You know, I didn't engage with him. I'm sure he watches my stream and he just thought he was being funny, or maybe he's a miserable guy with his own life and whatever's going on in his life. And the best thing I can do is just to ignore him. And, you know, I can't help him. If I engage with him, it actually eggs those type of people more to behave that way. But you guys probably didn't see because you don't speak Korean, but he was like constantly harassing me for an hour and I just ignored him. So in a basket of apples, you're gonna have bad apples, but 80% of the time when I engage myself in a conversation with people in the game, they're very welcoming. They're not rude, you know, at least in the initial phase. You can kind of tell if people want to carry the convo and they want to get to know you, or they're like just being nice and respectful in the beginning, but their vibe is kind of like, let me be, I just don't want to chat right now. And then less than 10%, maybe less than even 5% of the times, you'll have assholes that are just being obnoxious because they're miserable in their own life, you know. So that's what it is. People want to feel connected. People want to be around other humans and kind of experience things together. And Maplestory is a great place where people can have that especially if they don't have enough of it in real life, which it's no shame really if that's the case for you or other players, because it's really wrong to shame people for being alone and feeling lonely. The truth is the world is ever more lonely than before, ever in history of mankind. Introduction of social media and internet has really enclosed us into our homes and our bedrooms and to our phones and to our computers. And we have transitioned as humanity from working, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours a day to now you have to work your regular day job from 9 to 5, and you have to come home and work a side gig on the weekend just to make it. So we don't really get quality time with people anymore. When we do, it's very seldom, and people are just trying to make ends meet. So when they come on an MMO, of course they want to feel like a sense of community, a guild that they've made, and go on guild raids with people, and get in a party with their friends, or like a stranger you met the other day who was a really nice guy, and there's a lot of common grounds, common interests that you have with one another, and you party together and explore and talk about things that otherwise you never would in real life because you're too busy working, or the people that you work with at work, you guys just have completely different understanding of whatever the topic it is, whether it's how the country is being run, or the economy, or what food is best, what fast food is best, whatever it is. So people just want to meet like-minded people and spend time together with them. And in real life, in current days, in current times, it's so hard to do that in real life. Especially as you get older, people get more molded and people get more into their own. People kind of like shove themselves in an echo chamber, and when you present them with opposing ideas and views, a lot of people take offense or they can't handle it. So meeting people in real life is actually a lot hard than like establishing or actually attempting to establish a relationship online, because you have nothing to lose online. If you guys don't meet eye to eye and things don't work, just go silent and play the game. You know, maybe this person wasn't your person and wasn't meant to be your friend, but in real life you have to invest that time into getting to know a certain individual, and it turns out you and that person don't align at all. And now it's just like kind of awkward. What do? You have to put on a face for a bit, and you wasted your whole night, you know, trying to make a new friend, and you're disappointed again, and you blame, and you start thinking, well, is it me? Am I the weird one? Like, you know, and the human psychology and human psyche is complex, and I can't summarize it in. I could talk about it all day, but I won't even get close to being able to explain the full depth of how complex the human psyche is, especially as adults who've already lived 30 plus years of their life in a very individualized world with their own echo chamber of their own algorithm coming in from social media and people around their family with certain type of views. And then, you know, of course, America being the melting pot it is, when you meet someone, you guys, it's hard to form a basis. It's hard to form like a common understanding where you can have a strong foundation to build a relationship on top of. It's easy to make friends when you're a kid. It's easy to make friends when you're a kid because there's so little things to worry about in the world. Like, what's the best video game? What's your best food? Like, what do you like to do? What's your favorite basketball player or soccer player? But when you become adults, those type of conversations usually are not what's most interesting to people, you know. And anyways, I think that's why Maplestory is so great, the old school Maplestory, because it gives people some space where we can socialize and be civil. 남둥 띠짜리 이런 쩔은 안 받으실 줄 알았는데 저기 위에 계신 비숍님이 시청자분이신데요. 저보고 와서 썰해주신다고 어제부터 부르시고 있어요. 여기 ASMR님이. 망토님 득하신가? By the way, Johnny TV, I'm not Korean American, actually Turkish and Dutch. Oh, okay. But I played GMS and Trickster and loved them both. Even played non-English servers for both. Oh, okay. 아 맞다, 이거 공격력의 반창고 나왔으니까 이거 한번 발라봐야 되겠다. So I got this band-aid. So this is the event that I was talking about. I was using Dex, but where is it? Where's the one that okay, this one. These Rudolph knows, and these band-aids, that it's a band-aid. I know it looks kind of weird, like a snowboard or something, but it's a band-aid. They're all an event item, so if you participate in the event, they give these out. And I have one more upgrade chance left. It has a strength 1 and +5 to weapon attack. Weapon attack is the obviously the most most sought after one, because there's magic attack. This one's magic attack. This one's luck. This one's strength, and this one is int. None of these really matter for me. The best one that you could get as a damage dealer, as a DPS, would be the weapon attack, right? Unless like you're a warrior and you want to get leech and it's crucial that you don't hit miss, then you can have something like this, the one that I have. 6 to dex to kind of make up a little bit of accuracy, to kind of like boost the accuracy a little bit so you can actually attend the leeching session. But most of the time it's just a lot of people are going after weapon attack for obvious reasons, and I've been looking for one more band-aid for weapon attack, because this is not bad. +5 weapon attack and +1 to strength, and if I put this band-aid on there, it can raise either up to 2 weapon attack at a 60% success rate. So what I like to do, I like to just kind of work it a little bit, work the system. I don't like to directly I could directly put the weapon attack onto the nose, but I like to kind of use up these useless ones to get 2 failures, to like 2 fails, so my next one has a high probability of being a success. So that's what I'm about to do. Well, let's see, let's wait, let's hope we can get 2 fails in a row here. Let's see. So this one's int. That's a success. That's not what we're looking for. This is luck. Another success. Not what we're looking for. Not what we're looking for. Okay. This is troll, right? I needed to fail. Okay, there's 1 fail. I want 1 more fail, but I'm actually out of nose. I have no choice. Okay, well, we have 1 fail. So all these were successes. 60% chance success, 60% success, 60% success, and then 1 fail. Something tells me that this is gonna fail because we've had so many successes. But you know what? Please. Yes. Oh, it's blue. You see the blue aura on the nose? I'm hoping it's an attack 7, weapon attack 7. If it's 6, it's still good, but might as well get the best, right? Oh, it's a 6. That's a huge bummer. It could have been a 7, but you know, I'll take a 6. Everything else we can just kind of throw out. All these were kind of failures. We'll keep the dex 6 for the leech session that I'll have again tomorrow. But you know, this is the event item that I was talking about, and obviously it says until February 5th, and after that the item disappears, which in my opinion it's okay. It's not that it's okay, it's actually the best thing that they could do. Release an item that's limited time, and it enhances your enjoyability for the game for that duration, but you can't keep it forever or else it'll be game breaking. Like every event that they do, they can't release a permanent item because then it'll get too convoluted with event items and things will get messy. I think they're doing it the right way. Whew, I use so many popsicles, man. I need to make some money. Let's see here. I'm going to see if there's a party that I can join. Actually, I don't think I can party. No, I don't think. Wait, maybe. Kind of tight on time. Let's see if I can go here. Gonna go back to golems for money. No, not golems. I'm thinking I go back to the sheeps, or I can solo, or I can solo farm. I can farm for about an hour before I leave at golems or at rashes. Trying to think where I could go. Where should I go? Let me ask you guys. Is there like, if you guys have an opinion on where you think I should go to train? I could kill the harps. Let me see. Harps drop Ilby. I could go there. Ludi is too far for me to go. Elnath, no. Victoria Island, I would have to go to Sleepywood. That's the only high level monsters here. I could go to golems. There's really not much to do in Orbis. There's not much to do in Orbis. Like, the highest level monster here is like 70 and their drops aren't that good. You know, I do like Magatia and killing the mobs here. They have good loot table, but there's this like myth within Mapleland amongst players that Magatia, the training grounds in Magatia don't have, like, they've rigged the drop table because it's really hard to see a scroll or anything drop there. I don't know if it's true, but ever since I've heard that, I kind of have been like reluctant to go there and farm. Squids? I think squids are going to be full. I'm thinking, what about just Rash? Because here's the thing, if I go somewhere else, I have to turn on the VPN and it's too much. So I'm just going to go kill some Rashes. Rashes drop scrolls, they drop steelies. Not bad drops. Oh, he's level 200. Dang, level 200. Wow, that's crazy. The only thing I don't like about Rashes is that I have to they use these. Well, I mean, I'm not going there for EXP anyway. They use these curses where it reduces the EXP gain from a monster by 50%. But I'm so over the recommended level to farm at Rashes anyway. I'm just gonna completely ignore that. Another debuff that the Rashes use is weakness, I believe, and you can't jump, which is kind of a big deal, especially here. As you'll see, it requires, if you look at the mini map, it requires you to jump a lot. So that's another thing that's annoying here, but I think we'll be fine. I want to see if I can one-shot them now. I should be able to one-shot them. I was barely one-shotting them last time I was here, and I was like a couple of levels below, and I didn't have the items that I have now. So hopefully I can one-shot them, which allows me to like completely ignore the fact that they use oh, there we go. I can't one-shot them. Sometimes it'll make me two-shot them. You should test the Magatia myth. Should I one day just really dump 3 to 4 hours of my whole streaming time in there to see if they'll give me Helm for dexterity 60%? That's the scroll that most people go for over there, or that I would be going for over there. Or I could go to C2 and go for glove attack, but glove attack 60% isn't that great. But maybe I will. Maybe it's something that I can do in the near future, where I can go to Magatia and really test the maps and see how if I can get anything within 4 hours of just farming there. Regardless if I get the dexterity helm or helm for dexterity scroll or not, 4 hours of farming at a training location where you're way above the recommended level is going to yield you net positive and money gain anyway. So regardless it's going to be a win if I spend the time, whether it's here at the Rashes or in Magatia. But I think it'll be cool to kind of, like you said, check out that myth to see if it's true. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Magatia myth stream. Okay, yeah, we could definitely try something like that. I need to make money. If I want to keep going to get that leech and hit Dark Knight, I need to make money. So I think that's something that we can do. Hey, how's your thief going? This year GMS Classic Maplestory began. Maybe then you start? Maybe then I start what? How's my thief going? My thief is going good. 플랑크님이신가? 플링크 플랑크? My thief is, I haven't played in a bit. I actually played a little bit yesterday. I was grinding at Golem Forest, but I haven't been able to play too much because like I have so many other things that I need to take care of when I've been very busy outside of streaming. So when I'm not streaming, my family's been sick for about a week now, and you know, we're all just trying to make sure the baby's good and each other is good. I'm helping around the house and getting things done. I'm not getting too much sleep either, so you know. So like a lot of times I take naps after the stream when I can. And then I have other things going on outside of that that's eating up a lot of my time. So I haven't been able to play Thief, the Bandit. But I did hit level 50 and I'm almost 51. And it's right now currently parked at Golem Forest. I was grinding at Golem Forest for about 30 minutes yesterday before I logged out. I play the Bandit off stream. And on stream I try to play Dragon Knight because that's what most people are familiar with. And I figure people want to watch at least a somewhat higher level character, especially someone like me who's speaking with a lot of I speak with a lot of conviction when it comes to Maplestory. I speak like you know, as someone who's been playing the game for a while, and it's better to be playing a character that's higher level as it can back up my authenticity and my it can basically back up my viewpoints. Abandoned? I didn't abandon. I have not abandoned Thief. I actually want to eventually make the Bandit my main character. I love bandits. You're heading home right now and maybe we can play together. Do you have any schedules? I actually have to get off in about like 40 minutes because my son has an appointment with the doctors and I have to go to that. Maybe another time we can play together. No, it's okay. He's a lot better now. He has no fever. He's eating. He's getting good sleep. He's not crying anymore. So he's doing a lot better. So that's a good thing. We just want to take him to the hospital to make sure like he doesn't have anything else wrong with him. Kind of get a assurance check. Make sure he's doing good. It was so scary. I mean, at one point my son's temperature got up to 104 and it was just so scary. It's more scary now because I heard that a child actually died, a 5-year-old child, and my son is not even a year old, and a 5-year-old died from the flu this year, and they're saying this flu was a new strand of flu, and and it's deadly. And I can see it. I mean, usually I don't even get the flu, but this year I got the flu and it was bad for me too. And I got through it with medicine, but my son, because he's so young, you have to be careful with how much medicine you give him. And it's just, I can't thank God enough for protecting him and making sure, my son makes it through that without any serious complications. And it's such a scary world, like if you have kids, the world, it adds another dimension of scariness. Like when I was single, yeah, I knew the world was scary. There's crazy people, like the whole global economy could be pretty fragile, and a lot of countries have nukes that could really just blow up this rock that we're living in, and all these existential thoughts can scare you. But when you have a kid, there's a new element the new element of fear and anxiety that gets introduced, and it's just sometimes a lot. What can you do? You can pray and try your best, right? But I think, despite all the scare and all the anxiety and all the fear that it brings when you have a kid, I still wouldn't go back. And that's not because I know my son, who my son is now, prior to like having him, or after having him, I know who he is now. It's just the whole idea itself for me, is that I think I don't want the fear and the anxiety to stop. I wouldn't want that to stop me from having one of the core experiences of being what a human being is. So I would have still, I would have still had a kid, I think. This is the issue, is that when they curse me, I can't jump. And that's the only bad part, is like, I'm okay with getting reduced EXP, but not being able to jump is a huge bummer, especially in this map where the platforms require you to jump. I might as well just go to the top and work my way down. Oh, to my cough. What should I say to your cough? God bless you, something like that. God bless you is usually said after a sneeze. So 재채기를 할 때 God bless you. They say God bless you. Now when it's a cough, you usually don't say anything. Oh, I'm so tired. I feel like I had a good stream today. I was able to talk a lot about what I'm passionate about, and time kind of went by fast because I was talking the entire time. You know, I wonder where Korea will be in 5 years. I don't know. I watch a lot of news and politics and stuff. That's one of my core interests in life. I like to know what's going on in the world. I like to stay informed. And lately, it's just been kind of worrying me and laying heavy on my heart that I think the Korean and the American alliance is kind of getting weaker and weaker as years go on. And I worry sometimes that it's going to be hard for me to visit my family in the future. Yeah, I can see it seems like never end top listening test. Well, I hope the Korean-American relationship stays strong. You know, they just had another credit rating go down for the US dollar. What is it? I forgot what they're called. But there's some agency that rates how, I guess, stable, or they give rating to the economy of certain countries and their currency. And the dollar has been losing its credibility and basically losing its grade, being graded by these companies, and it's kind of scary to see. I mean, it kind of completely does a one-on-one reflection, I guess, on how bad the US dollar is doing, and you can see that in direct translation into how well the silver and gold is doing. Investors are putting more money into gold and silver nowadays and abandoning the dollar because I don't think they like the instability and the change that the dollar has brought. Which I don't understand, you know, like, you have our president going on TV talking about how he brought in so much money from the tariffs and how our economy is doing so good, and our stock market is doing good too. It's not like the stock market has tanked by any means. It's been kind of stagnant, sure, but you know, overall it's still up when you look at the bigger picture, when you look at it in a long, lengthy timeline. But for some reason, gold and silver keeps going up. There's some rumors, there's some like saying that China is massively buying gold and trying to kind of shake up the US dollar and stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of excited, not excited, I'm kind of like intrigued is the better word, to see what's gonna happen in 2026. Like, will the dollar lose value? What will happen? Or, you know, like, how's our economy gonna do? What's the global economy gonna be like? Where's AI gonna go? I'm also very interested in that too. I want to know what's gonna happen with AI, and like, will AI make our lives better or worse? The stock market is not the health of the economy. I mean, I agree. You know, stock market is for winners, people that are already winning, and it increases their wealth. So I understand it's not a direct reflection of how the average American is doing. But it is a metric that people use to gauge how the US economy is doing. That is for sure, you know, so. But you know, another thing I think about a lot is that when you look at countries like China, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar, and like partially Korea, because there's some parts in Korea that are really well developed and modern. These other countries are so much more advanced in AI tech and than we are, that I just sometimes can't wrap my head around that. Like, how are we the leading superpower in the world, but we can't even fix like a crack in the road? You know, I drive to Chick-fil-A near my house and I have to almost play Mario Kart trying to dodge all these potholes and cracks in the road that's been there for God knows how long. I've been living here for like 3-4 years, and those potholes are still there. And it's the city's responsibility. It's in the city's lining. What is it? Gosh, I can't think of the word because I'm trying to think on the spot. But it's not on a private property, you know, and it's up to the city to fix those type of things so the drivers' cars don't get messed up. Technically, I think the people can sue the city, and I'm sure some people have, who got really tired of it, who doesn't want to deal with that stuff anymore. But to see it not change, and we don't, you know, like, I heard there's driverless taxis in China and in the Middle East. How come we don't have that? How come I have to get in a car in someone's beat up Ford, and you know, how come the driver himself can't purchase a vehicle? Like, it makes so much more sense to me that if you wanted to do Uber drive or whatever, like you wanted to do a taxi driver, that you get a loan from the bank at a cheap interest rate for a driverless taxi or a driverless Uber system, because when you don't have a driver, it's a less of a risk. So banks should be able to give you a more favorable loan term and interest rate to finance that car, and now it's one car that you have in your as your asset that's performing out there for you without you physically having to be there and spend the time. Like, that's so, to me, that makes perfect sense, and it should almost be like obvious thing to do, but it's not happening here, but it's happening in China and in the Middle East. How come we can't get like, how come Uber drivers, like, obviously if you're doing Uber Drive, you're struggling a little bit. How come we can't help those people and give those people a little bit of a leverage by financing? We have a lot of government programs anyway, financing or helping them get financed with their first driverless Uber car or Uber delivery or Uber driver, whatever, driverless taxis, and get those guys off the ground. Let them manage that asset and let them snowball their assets that way, because now you have an asset out there that's performing, doing driverless taxi for you, and you can collect money, and you can now use your physical body, and time is liberated while an asset's making money. So it's like a passive income. You can put your focus into either getting a next driverless Uber, a taxi, or you can put your time into something else, whatever you can do to make money or whatever, you know. I just feel like that makes more sense, but we don't see it ever. At least where I live, I mean, I live in a pretty big city, and my state, Virginia, is one of the wealthiest states. How come we don't see that? Even when I go up north where all the government people are at and all the rich neighborhood is at, my neighborhood, my city is not anything grand or big or rich, but I expect that if I go up towards Washington and towards northern Virginia, where all the richest people in the United States are, you would think you'd see some lucrative inventions or boundary pushing technologies doing things because people have money there, but none of that happens. And it baffles me that I'm sure people think about the things that I think of. I mean, this can't be like a revolutionary type of idea, driverless taxis as an investment, and let that work for you while you are, I don't know, streaming. I could be like, even for me, why can't I have a driverless Uber taxi doing out there making me money while I'm in here streaming, and then collect my wealth and roll that investment into another investment, and then create wealth that way? But for some reason it can't happen here, you know. I mean, I kind of have an idea why that is, because I think it's because there's a lot of regulations and a lot of like steps that you have to go through to even at a legal level, and that it kind of like paralyzes you to do anything intuitive in America, because there's so many steps that you got to take, registrations, licenses, the state has to come out and do a safety check and all this stuff, that people just get strangled by regulation and they can't do anything with the modern tech of AI. I don't know how many of you guys see like, oh, AI has been able to find and spot like Alzheimer's before it develops. Yay, AI, like on Facebook all the time. I see that stuff all the time on Facebook, but I don't see the real life example of something way minor than that, such as like, how come our fast food restaurants don't have like some sort of a janitor even at gas stations who can clean the bathrooms for us, you know? Or I've seen advertisements of this thing called Flippy, who's supposed to start working at a fast food restaurant flipping fries. That's why he's called Flippy. Take away the dystopian like aspect of it. It would be so nice to have a fast food restaurant with an AI powered robot who can make like the perfect fries. You know, how many times do I go to McDonald's or Wendy's and my fries are cold and stale? more than I can count and more than I would like, honestly. So, you know, stuff like that, how come we don't see it on every day? But we see headlines and news about AI being able to spot Alzheimer's and now cure like prostate cancer and all this stuff. It just seems so out of reach for us Americans. But then you go travel the world, and like I've been to Turkey, I've been to Korea recently, Japan recently. All these places have some sort of AI within their everyday life that makes the life a lot more, that feels very different from the way of life in America. Like Turkey had automatic machines where you can put your foot, like if you enter a facility, medical facility, restaurant, whatever, if it was, you know, if they had these things where you could slide your foot into a machine and it would wrap your shoes around a plastic vinyl coating that essentially basically like keeps the entire building clean. So you have a cover that goes over your shoes and you don't even have to bend. You just put your foot in a machine and it wraps around your shoe and you just walk around in that. And honestly, it's like so quick and seamless that you can do it in like 2 seconds, you know. And it makes perfect sense. Like it's dirty outside, it's been raining outside, they have nice tile floors, they don't want to get it dirty. Makes sense. And I've seen places where a robot is actually cleaning the bathroom. I've never seen that here. If I've seen anything here that has to do with AI, it's when an AI robot, or I don't even know if it's an AI robot, it's just a robot robot is serving food and going from table to table taking order, but it doesn't even talk. It just beeps and brings the food. You take the food off of it. It probably just has a camera and a very simple command prompt software, and has a camera to able to like move around and use the camera for visual cues to make sure it doesn't hit anything or run into anything. I wouldn't really call that AI. You know, that's pretty elementary level technology in 2026. Like it's not a Tesla robot coming up to me dancing and then serving me my meat at a Korean barbecue. But that's like the highest level of tech I've seen in the mainland here in USA. Just kind of sad. Like I feel like the world is progressing and we're kind of getting left behind, and I'm not exactly sure why. Like nobody in power is doing anything about it. Like people in power aren't doing anything about it, you know. Do they find it dangerous? Like sudden change, I could see that. Like all of a sudden the sudden change could bring about some anomalies that could be dangerous. With change, there's a stir up sometimes and it could be dangerous. Stability is always safe, I understand that, but also being left behind and not adapting to the modern world seems dangerous too in its own way. Okay, I think I should wrap up around here because I have to get ready to head out. Unfortunately, no loot. I think we grinded for maybe 30 minutes, if that. I feel like it wasn't that long, but just talking made it a little bit more bearable. 36 minutes. No loot. You are home and it's freaking cold out there. Yeah, I bet. Korea is right now 2:30 a.m. and yeah, gotta be super cold. Gotta stay warm, man. Oh my god. I wonder how cold it is in Korea right now. It's because you have to walk from what, the train station or the bus stop? 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, that's very cold. That's like how cold it is here at before when the sun goes down. Okay, let me go back to town and sell all these fur balls that I've accumulated. And I'm gonna call it a day for me. Right. I will get on tomorrow at 9 a.m. EST and 11 p.m. Korea time. 오늘 방송 봐주셔서 감사하고 내일 똑같은 시간 저녁 11시에 방송 키도록 하겠습니다. 내일 봬요. See you tomorrow. Bye.